Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Emotional Intelligence with Jess. And today I'm going to talk about narcissistic dysregulation when it comes to people that are highly emotional feelers. So I'm going to start by saying, have you ever noticed that some people drive a narcissist absolutely completely insane while others are barely causing a ripple in their social world? We're going to dive into the psychology behind the narcissist's emotional dysregulation and how, when interacting with that supply, affects them versus what is boring, consistent, predictable, or flat. So let's define the terms, okay? Narcissists feed on supply: admiration, attention, validation, control, right? But not all supply is equal. Maybe to some narcissists, all supply is equal because it's just somebody that they can, they're just looking for one particular person that's just willing to do whatever, and they don't really need the character traits or the residual benefits behind that person. But for a lot of narcissists or people that are highly toxic in their emotional regulation, there are high impact supplies. And this is someone who challenges them emotionally and intellectually. They aren't easy to manipulate, and they hold their boundaries pretty strong against somebody who's highly narcissistic. And their presence sparks this unpredictable emotional response within the narcissist, inside of their internal world. Flat supply, so people that are more malleable and moldable, these are people that are more predictable, passive, and easy to control. They're easy to replace. So that's what I'm saying by if there is some narcissists that are just looking for flat supply that's just going to give them consistent fuel and is not going to challenge them, yes, these are people are easily replaceable. These people are easy to find. As long as they display the kinds of signals to the narcissist that says, okay, this is the kind of person I am. Tell me who I am. Mold me to what you want me to be so that I am validated by you and that you tell me what my worth is. So they give the narcissist consistent attention without emotional cost or challenge. And sometimes these people are pretty flat. Their eyebrows never move. They're just always talking very flat, going through the motions, so on and so forth. So there's a key difference. The narcissist experiences dysregulation when they're dealing with the high impact supply that they know is somebody that's going to hold them to account for their behaviors, and who has strong assertive boundaries, because their usual tactics of control, charm, and manipulation and grooming don't produce the same expected results. So think of it like this. If they push a button expecting a beep, and instead the light flashes randomly, that can throw them off. Their brain has to work harder, longer, and deeper to regain that fuel of control. If they're trying to pull on somebody's insecurities in order to control them, and that person is not letting them latch on to that insecurity that they're feeling deeply about, they're just kind of being impartial or unreactive or neutral, then yeah, the narcissist is going to work harder, expel more energy in order to figure out how they're going to get that source of supply under control so that they can get their needs met. So imagine a narcissist is approaching two people, okay? Person A, person B. Person A is boring, consistent, gives attention on cue, they're predictable. The narcissist goes to them and knows exactly who they're going to feel and deal with because they're the same person all the time, right? They push a button, the person does what they want. They push a button, the person does what they want. Person B is strong, emotionally intelligent, doesn't react to how the narcissist expects. There's no predictability. It's like intermittent reinforcement. You're going to a casino, you're pulling the lever, and every single time it's different, but you're hoping that you're going to win what you want. That's where the hook is. The high supply is going to be somebody that is going to be more, there's going to be a lot more energy expelled for that narcissist to control that person. And they're going to work harder to keep this person around because of that inconsistency. This person they can replace at any time. It's easy to replace this person because there is no depth to them, right? There is no real character. They're very surface level, flat, goes through the motions. This person has so much more. And the fact that they're willing to put boundaries against this narcissist makes the narcissist think, how dare you? You belong to me, and I'm going to get you to do what I want you to do. And the fact that you're willing to not give me what I want tells me that I need to work to earn it, you know? So who do you think causes more mental spinning, obsessive thoughts, and frustration? The person B. It's person B. It is high impact supply, and it's exhausting for the narcissist because they can't fully control the feedback loop that they're getting. If they don't know who they're dealing with every time person B comes, if the person B's like, or hey, you know what I mean? Like if they don't have a consistency there, the narcissist gets dysregulated because they're expecting something, but a lot of the time it doesn't match their expectation. So here's what's fascinating. The narcissist experiences dysregulation slowly, persistently, and internally. So with any other like neurotypical kind of person, something happens to us. We feel the thoughts and feelings then and there. We process them. We navigate through them. We understand them, compartmentalize them, and put them away. Narcissists don't work the same way. They're dysregulated. And rather than having like this hit of lightning in the beginning, it like happens and then it slowly like extends where it's this intense reaction that is not fast and acute, like a spike that we would deal with. It's a slow burn. It's intensity that spreads through for over hours, sometimes all day, and their mind loops through all these possibilities, trying to understand to regain control. So they're thinking, you know, like, why did this person say that? What did they meant when they said that? What does that say about me? Why would they say that? What can I do next to make sure that they give me what I want? So they're now looping through everything that the high supply or the highly, I hate saying high supply, the highly valued, I guess, person that they want in their sphere. They're looping through like, they're still looping through control. There's no reason to pay attention to person A because person A always gives them what they want. They always know what to expect. But for person B, they're dysregulated because they have to constantly navigate and calculate how they're going to regain access to that person through what interactions they just had, because it doesn't ever match up with their internal narrative. So the same interaction that feels brief to you and can demonstrate like their mental energy, like the same interaction that feels brief to you can dominate their mental energy for hours or even days. So that's why sometimes if you make up with somebody who's highly narcissistic, you'll get a very positive reaction from them in early in the day, and then you'll see them in the evening and they're dismissive with you because they are still cycling through their feelings and they're trying to not lose control. They don't want to be vulnerable. They're trying to stay grounded. And also, I think subconsciously, it's also a tactic to say, okay, so this person gave me, this, good greeting in the morning. I'm feeling dysregulated. Now I'm seeing them again. They're neutral with me. If I act dismissive, now I'm going to calculate how the next interaction after that is going to be. Is it going to be different, or is it going to be the same as before, where this person decides to cut me off? Is this person going to get angry at me and confront me about it? Is this person going to forget about the fact that I dismissed them? So like, it's all about these little social interactions, like brief, in order to calculate how they can regain control of that person. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Okay, when you maintain neutrality with warmth and boundaries, you create the ultimate high impact supply. You don't give them emotional access they want. You don't chase them. You're present and composed. You force their brain to spin. Because trying to understand your behavior and analyzing your motivations and they're trying to anticipate your next move, right? They're just trying to analyze constantly because they don't understand how you work. Flat supply never does this. Only someone unpredictable and self-possessed creates that slow burning dysregulation. So if you're dealing with somebody that's highly narcissistic, whether it's in a relationship at work or in social circles or someone that you live with, understand that your emotional boundaries and self-possession are your power. You don't need to chase and manipulate or fight back. Simply existing as someone that they cannot fully control or predict is enough to make them spin. Mentally, emotionally, and sometimes even physically. That's why they act out. When they lose control, they act out, right? Because they get so dysregulated, they act out. So when they go into that stoic phase where they're just like, I'm going to dismiss this person, they're holding in that dysregulation so much because they don't want to act out and cause a rupture that could potentially make you leave for good. And I'm not saying this because this is a way to actually like navigate around the narcissist and this is a way that you should stay in this relationship. You shouldn't. Because if this dysregulation is always going to happen, it's always going to end up the same. At the end of the day, they're going to try and control you to get you to do what they want you to do. That's it. At the end of the day, it's not about like, you shouldn't have to change your behaviors in order to make them feel comfortable. But that's what they expect you to do. They expect you to be consistent coming to see them and not taking any of their micro expressions of, dismissal or arrogance or, making fun of you as something that you should just pack away and not deal with, that you should just put up with it. When you have high boundaries and high moral character and you have self-love and respect, it's those kinds of comments and behaviors towards you that you're not going to tolerate. And that's what makes them dysregulated, because they expect you to tolerate it and you shouldn't. So yeah, like staying in your truth, sticking to your truth and standing your ground, it's going to cause them to mentally spin. And especially like when you're neutral, when you are neutral and they are trying to push you, because there's always this thing that says like the narcissist or somebody who is highly narcissistic or NPD, they want you on their terms. Okay. The thing is, you need to be disinterested in them for them to have you on their terms, because then there's actually a fight worth fighting for. They don't want you when you're compliant all the time, because at some point or another, they get bored of you. Unless they really don't have any other supply to go to, yeah, you're going to be this consistent supply that's just going to be their doormat, flat, and always accepting everything that they do. But if you actually like say, I'm not going to tolerate this, I'm not going to tolerate that, and you come in to this like neutral, like, yeah, okay, whatever, I don't really care what you're doing today, like go do your thing and I'm going to do my thing and I'm going to mind my business. Like you have to actually feel like you do not want to go back there. You actually have to feel like this is not something I want. You can't go in half-ass or like acting like you don't want them, but you really do deep down. You have to actually follow through and say, I'm not going to tolerate this. This is not a friendship I want. This is not a relationship that I want. Because they feel it. If you're acting or pretending that you don't want them, they know that you're acting and pretending that you don't want them based on how you look at them, how you address them, how you talk to them, how you ignore them. If you come in constantly ignoring them and like they're gonna know, okay, this person's still angry with me, I still have pull, right? Even if you ignore them. But if you come in calm, composed, acting like they're like any other person in your world, like they're just a piece of furniture in the room, it's just another day. You're not angry towards them when they ask you a question. You're not happy when they ask you a question. You're not sad when they ask you a question. Like, it's basically a very neutral space. Then they get so messed up because they don't know what you're feeling. A lot of the time, narcissists are staying away from people that are highly emotional. Because if you're highly emotional, it means that you are holding them accountable for how you're feeling. That's why they don't want to talk about emotions. They don't want to deal with emotions. That's why if you say, I miss you, or like, where did you go? Why won't you talk to me? They're going to ignore you after those messages because they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and what they're feeling. They don't want to talk about their emotions. They want to talk to somebody who doesn't feel anything because that's safe for them. It's safe to be around somebody that is not going to hold them to account for their feelings that the narcissist is causing in them. So that's where they get consistent supplies with people like that. If you're always coming in emotional and wanting to talk about your feelings and what happened, they are not going to want to talk to you. But that's just one kind of narcissist. There's people that are actually like begging, pleading, harassing, stalking, assaulting people to get them back into their sphere because they cannot tolerate the fact that this person does not want them. That's when you need to call the police. That's when you need to actually get like legal stuff on paper, because there is no length that they will not go in order to keep you under control. And it doesn't matter if you're neutral or not, they're going to push you physically, emotionally, mentally into feeling something for them, to know that they feel that they're still important in your world. So in that scenario, no contact is 150% the way to go. Understanding the dynamics gives you an advantage. It teaches you how to manage these interactions with them. It protects your mental space and it keeps you grounded. And this is even when they're trying to pull you back into their chaos, you know? And I just wanted to say, like, if you found this helpful, click like, subscribe, share if you feel that this could be useful for somebody else. If you experience this kind of like slow burning dysregulation from a narcissist, I'd like to hear your story. But yeah, it's how I'm understanding it from my experience and research that I've done is that like emotions yes, emotions feed them. Emotions make them like, it keeps the construct together. Your emotions keep the construct together, right? But at the same time, they want to feel them. They don't want to address them. They don't want to address how you're feeling because then they have to take accountability for that. They just want to see you spiraling. They want to see you dysregulated. They want to see you upset. And then they can eat that emotional intensity up and say, okay, if they're feeling this way, then that means that my facade is really great. I'm able to get away with it really well. They're falling for it. And at the same time, I don't want to deal with the confrontation of how they're feeling about it. So I'm just going to ignore them and go find supply somewhere else with somebody that's not going to question my dysregulation or question my motives. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. Have a good day.